Welcome to the world of Python programming, where you can turn your ideas into reality. Python is a powerful and easy-to-learn language that is used by professionals and hobbyists alike. With Python, you can build anything from simple games to complex artificial intelligence systems. In this course, you will learn the basics of Python programming, from variables and data types to functions and object-oriented programming. You will also learn how to apply your new skills to real-world projects, such as building a website or analyzing data. By the end of this course, you will be able to write your own Python programs and join a community of millions of developers who are using Python to change the world. So, are you ready to start coding your dreams? In Python, a variable is a name given to a value. Variables are used to store and manipulate data in a program. Think of a variable as a labeled box where you can store a value. You can then use the label to refer to the value in your program. For example, you might use a variable to store a user's name or a password. Variables are a fundamental concept in programming, and understanding how to use them is crucial to becoming a proficient programmer. As you learn more about variables, you will see how they can be used to build complex programs and solve real-world problems. What kind of data do you think you might want to store in a variable? In Python, there are several different data types that you can use to store and manipulate data. The most common data types are numbers, text, and booleans. Numbers can be either integers or floating-point numbers, and they are used to store numerical values. Text, also known as strings, is used to store sequences of characters, such as words or sentences. Booleans are used to store true or false values, and they are often used to make decisions in a program. Understanding the different data types and how to use them is essential to becoming a proficient programmer. For example, you might use a number to store a user's age or a boolean to determine whether a user is logged in or not. How do you think the different data types might be used in a real-world program? Let's consider a real-world example of how Python might be used to build a website. Imagine that you are building a website that allows users to log in and view their profiles. You might use Python to store the user's username and password in a database, and then use that information to determine whether the user is logged in or not. You could also use Python to store and retrieve data about the user, such as their name and email address. This is just one example of how Python can be used to build real-world applications. As you learn more about Python, you will see many more examples of how it can be used to solve real-world problems. What kind of website do you think you might want to build using Python? A program's flow is like a recipe. You start with a list of ingredients, follow a series of steps, and end up with a finished product. In Python, the program flow is controlled by the use of conditional statements, loops, and functions. Conditional statements are used to make decisions, loops are used to repeat tasks, and functions are used to group related code together. By understanding how to control the flow of a program, you can build complex and powerful applications. For example, you might use a conditional statement to determine whether a user is logged in or not, and then use a loop to repeat a task until the user logs out. How do you think the program flow might be used to build a real-world application? I still remember the first program I ever wrote. It was a simple game that asked the user for their name and then printed out a greeting. I was so excited to see the program work, but I quickly realized that I had made a mistake. The program was printing out the wrong greeting. I spent hours trying to figure out what was wrong, but I couldn't seem to find the problem. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, I found the mistake and fixed it. The feeling of accomplishment I felt when the program finally worked was incredible. As you learn to program, you will experience similar moments of frustration and triumph. But with persistence and practice, you will become a proficient programmer. What do you think your first program might be? Python was created in the late 1980s by Guido van Rossum, a Dutch computer programmer. Van Rossum began working on Python in 1989 and released the first version in 1991. He named the language after the British comedy group Monty Python's Flying Circus. Python was designed to be an easy-to-learn language that could be used for a wide range of tasks, from quick scripts to complex applications. Today, Python is one of the most popular programming languages in the world, and it is used by millions of developers. As you learn more about Python, you will see why it has become so popular. What do you think makes Python so special? Python and Java are two of the most popular programming languages in the world. While both languages are powerful and widely used, they have some key differences. Python is generally considered easier to learn and faster to code, while Java is more verbose and complex. However, Java is also more widely used in enterprise applications and is known for its platform independence. As you learn more about Python, you will see how it compares to other languages like Java. You will also see how Python's unique features, such as its simplicity and flexibility, make it a popular choice for many developers. What do you think are the advantages and disadvantages of using Python versus Java? Now it's your turn to practice what you have learned. Write a Python function that takes a user's name as input and prints out a greeting. Test your code to make sure it works correctly, and then try to fix any errors that you encounter. As you work on this challenge, you will see how the concepts you have learned so far can be applied to a real-world problem. You will also see how the process of writing, testing, and debugging code is an essential part of programming. What do you think is the most challenging part of writing code, and how can you overcome those challenges? Python is widely used in data analysis and science. With libraries like Pandas and NumPy, you can easily import and manipulate large datasets. You can then use statistical methods to analyze trends and patterns in the data, and visualize the results using libraries like Matplotlib. For example, you might use Python to analyze the sales data for a company, and then use that information to make predictions about future sales. As you learn more about Python, you will see how it can be used to solve real-world problems in data analysis and science. What kind of data do you think you might want to analyze using Python? Python has had a real-world impact on many people's lives. For example, it has been used to build systems that help businesses manage their operations more efficiently, and to create applications that improve people's health and well-being. It has also been used to build systems that help people communicate with each other more effectively, and to create tools that help people learn new skills. As you learn more about Python, you will see how it can be used to make a positive impact on the world. You will also see how the skills you learn can be used to make a difference in your own community. What kind of impact do you think you might want to make using Python? Congratulations on making it to the end of the course. Now it's time to test your knowledge and apply your skills. Take the quiz to see how well you understand the concepts you have learned. Review the material to make sure you are prepared, and then apply your skills to real-world problems. As you continue to learn and grow as a programmer, remember that practice and persistence are key. Keep coding, and you will see how far you can go. What do you think is the most important thing you have learned in this course, and how will you apply it in the future? Here are 3 questions to get you started. What is the basic syntax of Python? How do you import libraries in Python? What is the difference between a list and a tuple in Python?